The current border issues that we have with Myanmar not only is current problem, but it also has a history. It's a history of problems that we have had with Myanmar along the same border. If we remember in 1978, there was a border skirmishes between the Myanmar military and the Bangladesh that called for a mobilization and deployment of Bangladesh military along the Bangladesh-Myanmar border. We've also had a history of a near maritime conflict in 2008 when Myanmar deployed its naval ships to put a rig in our EZ close to St. Martin's Island. So therefore, what we want to remember that the current tension that we have with Myanmar along the border is nothing very new. We have a history of troubles along the border, both in the land border area and also in the maritime space. The current problems started mainly with the influx of 1.1 million Rohingya refugees who were pushed into Bangladesh by the Myanmar side in 2017, particularly starting with August 2017. And since then, we have been housing a large Rohingya refugee population in Bangladesh with a number of issues that are involved with housing large number of refugees in any country. Therefore, there has been several issues that we need to settle with Myanmar because we want to send the refugees back to Myanmar again. The current problem that we now analyze along the border starts primarily with the presence of ARSA in Rakhine, who have been battling the Myanmar army for some time, but ARSA was not a very strong force. But what we see currently is a battle between the Arakan army and the Myanmar army or the Tatmadaw. Arakan army is the military wing of the United League of Arakan, which was basically formed in 2009, and they have ethnic independent aspirations in the Rakhine province, and they've been battling the Tatmadaw for some time now. Particularly since the last couple of years, the Arakan army has really grown in strength. They've also grown in space within the Rakhine province into their domination. And more importantly, they have now got the support of the Rakhine population in large parts of the province. That has now warned the Tatmadaw that if this continues, then they might lose control of this part of the country. Therefore, the current operation against the Arakan army conducted by Tatmadaw is the one that is currently going on. But what is not acceptable to us in Bangladesh is that in some cases, the operations they're conducting against the Arakan army, their operations are coming into Bangladesh territory. We have had several incidents where their shells have landed within Bangladesh territory, which is a violation of our sovereign borders. We've had several incidents where the helicopters and aircrafts had crossed the Bangladesh airspace and come into Bangladesh airspace, which is again a violation of all international norms and order, which is not acceptable by Bangladesh. On the last Friday, which is the 16th of September, the shells again landed in Bangladeshi territory in the no man's land, which resulted in killing of one child and injuring 5 other Bangladeshi citizens, which is a gross violation of all international norms and neighborly relationship. It is a violation of our sovereign space, and therefore it is something that cannot be accepted by Bangladesh. The Bangladesh side did call the Myanmar ambassador to our foreign office 4 times over the last few weeks and given a strong protest note. But what we see now that it has not resulted in any practical action on the Myanmar side because they continue to violate our border space and our airspace. What is worrying from the current incident is that the conflict that is going on between separatist forces within Rakhine province and the Tatmadaw, there is a possibility of conflict spillover. And when that happens, the spillover will happen and the spillover will come into Bangladesh. I'm also slightly concerned that the current contacts of the Arakan army is trying to spread around the area. They might also attempt to get contacts within the Rohingya camps. And if that happens, then the Rohingya population in Bangladeshi camps can also get in contact with Arakan army and compound the whole complex problem. I see also the fear and the possibility of the current small conflict escalation into a bigger one. So conflict escalation is always a probability and a possibility, and once it gets into the escalation ladder, it becomes very difficult to contain it there. That's why we must try and stop it as it is beginning now, so that it doesn't climb into the escalation ladder. There is also a fear that we don't have any CBM mechanism between the two countries. There is no political CBM or conflict building measures. There is also no military CBM that exists. So therefore, we are unable to talk to the other side. And in that kind of a space, mistakes can happen. Fear can also monger other actions. So in absence of any proper CBM communication, the prospect of conflict escalation becomes even more real. And I'm also slightly concerned that we could also see the possibility of new influx of the remaining Rohingyas in Rakhine province trying to get inside Bangladesh again. Or even the possibility of the Rakhine people living in Rakhine who might be trying to flee the conflict zones, and they might also try to get into Bangladesh. So the probability and the possibility of a new influx of refugees into Bangladesh remains quite high. So what should Bangladesh do? That is a question that is being posed by many. First of all, I would like to say that the current tension that we have along the border must be solved peacefully and diplomatically. There must be never a thought that we can solve the problem militarily or in conflict. As neighbors, as countries living in peace, we must try all diplomatic efforts to solve it peacefully. But then, diplomatic moves are always not enough. It has to be backed up by deterrence. And deterrence is what gives a biting power to the diplomatic moves. I'm afraid that probably we are not exhibiting deterrence in the right manner to the Myanmar side. And that is the reason that Myanmar probably is not taking our deterrence capacity or capabilities very seriously, for which I think they are involving themselves into the current state of activities that we see now. It is also analyzed by some analysts internationally that military balance has probably tilted towards Myanmar side. And that makes it difficult for us to show the adequate level of deterrence to the other side. But we must make an effort so that the right deterrence level is maintained, so that our diplomatic moves have a strength to back it up. Diplomatically, so far we have called the ambassadors 4 times. I don't think it has made any difference. I hear that Bangladesh Foreign Office of MOFA is going to also brief the ASEAN ambassadors, and also they are talking to other places and other capitals. But I remember that during the latest influx of the Rohingya refugees in 2017, Bangladesh was diplomatically taken on a back foot. And that should not happen this time. What we should do is we should alert the international actors well in advance that this is happening in our border. More importantly, we should talk to the main countries that back Myanmar. The strength of Myanmar comes from 3 major sources of power, which is India, Russia, and China. These 3 major countries are backing Myanmar, and we should be talking to them so that they in turn talk to Myanmar or the Myanmar Takmado so that these actions are stopped immediately. And if nothing happens, we should take it to the UN Security Council to place the case there. But we must make all efforts diplomatically so that the problem does not escalate to the level of a conflict and it is resolved and solved peacefully. And that is the move that we should take.